Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the best level 20 mage build in Dragon Age the Veilguard. So we got the ability to control the battlefield as well as deal a ton of damage. This also sets you up for the evoker class and it's extremely strong. So starting off here at the mage core, we get our basic abilities here. So arcane shot's nice against any of the dark spawn enemies, so this will deal additional damage because they're weak to fire. This is a projectile and blast type weapon attack, so this is good. 2 charges of mana, so 100 mana total. The first option we're going to go with here is Mortal Concentration. So holding on the right trigger, sustaining our attack for up to 3 seconds will increase the amount of damage that it outputs. What's nice about this is it's just consistent damage, easy to aim, and can hit some enemies. If you're in a awkward position, you just need something to cast without casting a spell, so Mortal Concentration is great. Next, we're going to go up here to the Charging Spirit. So your staff energy generates passively when you're not in combat. So that when you start off, you'll be able to deal additional damage with the staff energy. So this empowers staff attacks with bonus damage and applies an affliction when full. Once we're going to go up to here to the Frost Nova. So this is a cooldown of 60 seconds. We're actually going to get a spell a bit later on that doesn't actually use up our mana. So this is awesome. So with the Frost Nova, this is an area control. It has damage of 63 cold and freezes the enemies to the bone, and a wide area around you is frozen. So with this, you can apply a critical condition, targets afflicted with bleeding and frozen. So with this, we can actually do quite a bit of crowd control. So this is an area effect spell and doesn't use up your mana too, so that's nice. And then we're next going to take damage versus frozen plus 15. We're going to try and freeze targets as much as possible to be able to deal a little bit extra damage while they're crowd controlled. So that is huge. We're then going to take the Fade Reflex. So right before you get impacted with an attack, if you dodge, it'll slow time down so that you're able to move and attack normally. And this is just a huge debuff, so we want this because it just makes the game a whole lot easier for us. So again, perfect dodges. We're a mage. We're going to be dodging a lot, and you want to be doing that frequently because for a good portion of the game, you don't have a fighter at the very start. So being able to dodge and slow time down to be able to deal damage is huge. So Fade Reflex is very effective for us. We're then going to get advantage duration plus 20, so whenever we have advantage, any beneficial status effect is going to have an increased duration of 20%, which is nice. You can potentially go with like the upgrade control abilities, which will grant deflect after you do a critical hit, and or this one here, so hitting 3 enemies with the area ability gets enhanced damage. It doesn't say how much enhanced damage it is, but I think it's best to just continue this way. So whenever we take damage, we regenerate 5 mana, so you don't want to take damage, obviously, but we want to get this next skill here. So we next got ourselves the Ice Storm, cold damage plus 10%. Great. We're going to want to do cold damage often. And then we have the Ice Blast here. So Control Blast deals 570 cold damage, costs 2 mana, and applies Weaken. So hurl shards of ice, impaling enemies caught in the way. Deals damage in a tight radius around your target, leaving behind shards which render chilled whenever they are touched. So chilled deals cold damage over time, slows attacks and movement. So it's a good crowd control. That'll also deal a little bit extra damage. Then we're also going to take the mana regeneration rate plus 15 with meditation there. Go up here to take whenever you defend against an enemy attacks. Staff energy is charged by 25%, so you want to be defending as much as you possibly can by pulling up your shield. And then here we have the greater authority, so control ability cooldown is 20 seconds or faster, and Ice Blast now has a cooldown of 40 seconds instead of costing mana. So when we look back at Ice Blast, it does still say it costs mana, but it doesn't anymore. It does not cost mana and has a cooldown of 40 seconds. And control ability cooldowns is 20 seconds faster, which is huge. Then we're going to move over here to the mana infusement. So performing a takedown grants 50 mana and 33 staff energy. So cast the spell. If it drops the enemy to a takedown, go and attack, then you get 50 mana. It's huge. And staff energy. We're then going to take early frost, so we increase our chilled stacks by 1. Then we can go here to the bolt volley. So this is actually a very powerful spell. So whenever you cast with your main attack pressing X, if you press at the moment that you pull your staff out and swing, you'll cast another additional orb. So you can do 2, you can do multiple, 2, and then 4. So you can increase your amount of damage per second by quite a bit. So this one's huge. It does take a bit of time to get comfortable with attacking this way, but it's highly worth it for the amount of damage that you can deal. Next, we're going to take Dark Squall. So this is a projectile and control. So this gets benefited from projectile buffs. So this deals 214 cold damage, and it detonates any sundered abilities that you have on the target. So cooldown of 60 seconds, harness elemental chaos, projecting a burst, and tropic energy to knock your targets back. This also does chill damage on target and targets takes increased damage from all sources. So whenever we have them sundered, they'll take a lot of extra damage. And this can also pull the enemies. It basically like does an explosion, pulls them in, and explodes them away. So you can knock a lot of enemies off of walls and cliffs this way. So using this, you can actually get some really easy eliminations. Next, we'll take the affliction damage plus 10%. So any damage that deals damage over time, just 10% more. And we'll take this here. So projectile abilities launch an additional projectile. The damage type changes based on your equipped staff. So additional projectile abilities. We do have a couple here. So this one's a projectile dark squall. And then also going back here to the arcane shot. This will do another charge. So that's really nice for just additional damage. And then here we're going to take the performing a takedown grants shocking weapon. So weapons now deal 25% more stagger. So this is huge because you can, whenever you get a takedown, you're going to deal additional stagger damage and cause another takedown, which is really nice. And then with this, we'll get a light attack damage plus 10%. And projectile abilities deal 75% more damage versus barrier. So that is really huge. Now, there's another way we can go about taking this. Like, we could go up here, take Mind Blast, which give us a shield, and then we can press Y to explode the shield. And then go down here, manage regeneration restarts 25% faster when paused by spending mana or taking damage. And then go down to Chain Lightning, which is a nice ability to apply Overwhelm to the target. And Overwhelmed target takes additional stagger. So whenever you hit them with this, you can break their posture a little bit easier. And then going up here to maximum mana plus 50% is huge. And then you go up here, abilities gain 50% bonus damage based on the type of your staff and orb weapons. And then you go up here to mana regeneration rate, and you'd follow a similar path up to here. And then you got your evoker there and come back around this way. So there's two ways that you can go about building this. It's extremely strong. The Fade Strike's also nice too. So this basically gives you an orb attack. So whenever you're sprinting, you can unleash your speed to do a powerful attack after using Fade Step. So when you dodge, you can do an attack. Downfall, so this gives a critical hit when an enemy's stuck down after a jump attack, which if you're doing jump attacks often, that can be nice. Wall of Fire is good crowd control damage. Creates a fire barrier, inflicts burning, which is fire damage over time, increased damage over armor. But these abilities I don't find to be as strong as some of the other ones. Like increased stagger is good. Return fire, so you can use a lighter heavy attack after a perfect defense. So if you're parrying a lot, this could be a good route, but I just found it not to be as impactful as some of the other choices. What's nice though is you can respec at any time, so that is a beautiful thing. Successful light attacks generate additional 25% mana, so that is a nice option there. This value is doubled against enemies suffer from an affliction, so you can give yourself a bunch of extra mana here and go for Meteor, but I do think it's best to go with this path here. I think that this gives us the most damage and control, and then it sets us up for the Evoker class. Now, the ability to, whenever we go casting here, so if you go boom, boom, if you're able to cast, you can see there I did extra bolts. So you can see, boom, you have to time it very tight timing. So there was 4 bolts there. It's whenever your character swings the staff. If you go, there's 2. It's hard to get the timing down, but there we go. We had it perfect there. Practice it and it'll come naturally. So that is a very powerful build for the mage at level 20 in Dragon Age the Veilguard. Let me know if this video is useful for you in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.